Satan was first known as Lucifer in heaven. He was leading the worship in the throne room of God. He walked on stones of fire and was perfect in all of his ways. But how did such a glorious being fall away from God? How did he end up going against the one who created him? In today's video, we are going to look into the heights of Lucifer and the depths of Satan. The heights of Lucifer. The name Lucifer means light bearer, and that is what Lucifer was. He carried the light and glory of God. He led the worship in heaven and gave glory, thanks, honor, and praise to the Lord of all creation. Some theologians say that Lucifer had musical instruments built into him, and as he would walk, those instruments would play and give glorious worship to God. Now, in order to understand how great Satan was, you must understand how the heavenly realm works. There are different archangels who have angels under them. Michael is a warrior archangel with angelic warriors under him. Gabriel is a messenger archangel with messenger angels under him, and Lucifer was a worship archangel with worship angels under him. Now let us look at what the Bible says about Lucifer. Isaiah 14 verse 12 to 15 says, "How you have fallen from heaven, morning star, son of the dawn. You have been cast down to the earth, you who once laid low the nations. You said in your heart, I will ascend to the heavens. I will raise my throne above the stars of God. I will sit enthroned on the mount of assembly, on the utmost heights of Mount Zaphon. I will ascend above the tops of the clouds. I will make myself like the Most High. But you are brought down to the realm of the dead, to the depths of the pit." Another verse in the Bible in Ezekiel 28 verse 13 to 18 says, "You were the seal of perfection, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. You were in Eden, the garden of God. Every precious stone was your covering: the sardius, topaz, and diamond, beryl, onyx, and jasper, sapphire, turquoise, and emerald with gold. The workmanship of your timbrels and pipes was prepared for you on the day you were created. You were the anointed cherub who covers. I established you. You were on the holy mountain of God. You walked back and forth in the midst of fiery stones. You were perfect in your ways from the day you were created, till iniquity was found in you. By the abundance of your trading, you became filled with violence within, and you sinned. Therefore I cast you as a profane thing out of the mountain of God, and I destroyed you, O covering cherub, from the midst of the fiery stones. Your heart was lifted up because of your beauty. You corrupted your wisdom for the sake of your splendor. I cast you to the ground. I laid you before kings, that they might gaze at you. You defiled your sanctuaries by the multitude of your iniquities, by the iniquity of your trading. Therefore I brought fire from your midst. It devoured you, and I turned you to ashes upon the earth in the sight of all who saw you." You see, Lucifer did not want to be like God, he wanted to be God. As children of God, we must strive to be like God in our character. But Lucifer wanted to overthrow the Lord and become God. So Lucifer was a beautiful being who was perfect in all his ways. He was identified as a son of the morning. He was a son. He was under God the Father and had a relationship with God. Here is a little secret that you probably won't believe. Lucifer was actually in the image of God. How do we know this? Well, let's first look at how God the Father looks like in the Bible. Revelation 4 verse 2 to 5 says, "There before me was a throne in heaven with someone sitting on it. And the one who sat there had the appearance of jasper and ruby. A rainbow that shone like an emerald encircled the throne. Surrounding the throne were 24 other thrones, and seated on them were 24 elders. They were dressed in white and had crowns of gold on their heads. From the throne came flashes of lightning, rumblings, and peals of thunder." So God seems to have an appearance of jasper and ruby. This must mean that they are somewhat engraved into his body and shine to give a ruby appearance. This is why it says in the passage that we previously read that every precious stone was Lucifer's covering. So just as every precious stone was engrafted into God the Father, So every precious stone was engrafted into Lucifer. Let's take a step further and look at the breastplate of the Old Covenant high priests, which is found in Exodus 28, verse 6 to 12. Make the ephod of gold, and of blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, and of finely twisted linen, the work of skilled hands. It is to have 2 shoulder pieces attached to 2 of its corners, so it can be fastened. Its skillfully woven waistband is to be like it, of 1 piece, with the ephod, and made with gold, and with blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, and with finely twisted linen. Take 2 onyx stones and engrave on them the names of the sons of Israel in the order of their birth, 6 names on 1 stone and the remaining 6 on the other. Engrave the names of the sons of Israel on the 2 stones the way a gem cutter engraves a seal. Then mount the stones in gold filigree settings and fasten them on the shoulder, pieces of the ephod as memorial stones for the sons of Israel. The breastplate was one of the 8 priestly garments worn by the high priest when serving in the holy temple. It featured 12 precious stones, corresponding to the 12 tribes of Israel, and served as a medium through which the Lord provided direction to the Jewish people. Why did God instruct the high priest to wear a breastplate of 12 precious stones? It is because God was trying to reveal His image through the priesthood. 1 John 1 verse 5 says that God is light and in Him there is no darkness. So if God is light and Lucifer means light bearer, then Lucifer was bearing or reflecting the light of God. So what would happen is that when Lucifer would enter the presence of God in worship with those precious stones engraved into him, the light of God would then come out from the Father and shine onto Lucifer's body, which would shine on all of those precious stones that would create a beautiful, glorious scene. Most of the angels never got to see God or get too close to God because not even the powerful angels can look into His face. Instead, they cover their faces and cry, "Holy, holy, holy." Isaiah chapter 6 verse 1 to 4 says, "I saw the Lord, high and exalted, seated on a throne, and the train of His robe filled the temple. Above Him were seraphim, each with 6 wings. With 2 wings they covered their faces, with 2 they covered their feet, and with 2 they were flying. And they were calling to one another, 'Holy, holy, holy is the Lord Almighty. The whole earth is full of His glory.'" At the sound of their voices, the doorposts and thresholds shook, and the temple was filled with smoke. Lucifer ended up deceiving 1/3 of his angels to turn against God. But remember, Lucifer did not deceive 1/3 of the angels of heaven. He only deceived 1/3 of the angels that were under him. Have you ever wondered how Satan managed to deceive 1/3 of his angels to turn against the one who created them? It is because after Lucifer would come out of the presence of God, he would be so filled with glory that he would look like God, and that became the closest those angels came to God. So Lucifer would walk up and down the stones of fire and ascend into the mountain of God. He would enter into the glorious presence of the Ancient One and give Him glory, honor, and thanks. And one day when he was coming out of the presence of God, he began to notice himself glowing with the glory of God. He then looked at himself and he didn't see himself anymore. He saw God. And then pride entered into him. He began to think that he is equal to God. Lucifer began to think that he does not have to bow to God, but now he can be God. Lucifer didn't want to be like God, he wanted to be God. Lucifer then went out to deceive 1/3 of the angels that were under him. And then war waged in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against Lucifer and his angels. It was a bloody scene. After what seemed to be decades of war between the 2 angelic armies, the Lord of hosts steps in and hurls Lucifer back down to the earth with his fallen angels. Jesus, the Word, was also there, and watched Satan falling from heaven like lightning. Lucifer then became Satan. He is no longer a bearer of light, but a bearer of darkness. Satan appears again in the Bible to Adam and Eve in the form of a serpent, where he deceives them into eating the forbidden fruit. He succeeded and caused Adam to bring a curse on humanity. Satan also appears to God concerning Job and ends up attacking Job's life. He also appeared to Jesus in the wilderness and tempted him after his 40-day fast. This is found in Matthew 4:4-10, where he said to him, "If you are the Son of God, command that these stones become loaves of bread." Jesus answered, "It is written, man shall not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of God." Then the devil took him to the holy city and had him stand on the highest point of the temple. "If you are the Son of God," he said, "throw yourself down. For it is written, He will command His angels concerning you, and they will lift you up in their hands, so that you will not strike your foot against a stone." Jesus answered him, "It is also written, do not put the Lord your God to the test." Again, the devil took him to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their splendor. "All this I will give you," he said, "if you will bow down and worship me." Jesus said to him, "Away from me, Satan, for it is written, worship the Lord your God and serve Him only." The book of Revelation states that Satan will be bound for 1,000 years and then released. This is seen in Revelation 20:1-3, where it says, "Then I saw an angel coming down from heaven. He had in his hand a key to the hole without a bottom. He also had a strong chain. He took hold of the dragon, that old snake, who is the devil, or Satan, and chained him for 1,000 years. The angel threw the devil into the hole without a bottom. He shut it and locked him in it. He could not fool the nations anymore until the 1,000 years were completed. After this, he must be free for a while." Further down the text it says, "When the 1,000 years are finished, Satan will be free to leave his prison. He will go out and fool the nations who are over all the world. They are Gog and Magog. He will gather them all together for war. There will be as many as the sand along the seashore. They will spread out over the earth and all around the place where God's people are, and around the city that is loved. Fire will come down from God out of heaven and destroy them. Then the devil who fooled them will be thrown into the lake of fire, burning with sulfur. The wild animal and the false preacher are already there. They will all be punished day and night forever." Lucifer became Satan through the first sin, which was pride, which then led to his downfall. Pride comes before a fall. So make sure you don't let your ego get the better of you, otherwise you might fall as well. Remember the words of the Savior, "He who humbles himself will be exalted, and he who exalts himself will be humbled." If you enjoyed this video, then click that thumbs up button and check out the video that is showing on the screen right now. Thank you.